And we are live. So here I am. I'm Becky Cherny, and boy, do I have a treat for you today. And I'm really excited about this because I get to introduce two really super cool people who would have ever thought that they would make their way into the car business. But isn't that how it all works, right? Never thinking ever that you'd be going from maybe a veteran in the Army, that sort of thing, or retired, if you will, and into the car business, let alone independent, working with this independent store in Kentucky. And boy, let me tell you, their message is so cool. I just had to bring them on. I wanted to find out more about, for the people. What the heck does that mean, right? For the people. And, it's kind of cool because, we know that in the business, we have to deal with subprime credit, and how we take care of that customer it really matters, right? Because either they're going to love you or they're going to what? Hate you. So they made a decision to come up with, for the people, the dream team. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring these guys on, but here's what I'm going to ask you to do for me, if you would, please. Share, share, and share. We want this out. We want other dealers to realize how super important it is, right, to have this kind of mindset. That we're, here to not only sell cars, but make a customer for life. And how important is that? I mean, and it really is. We want to make sure that, we're getting that customer on the right car that they belong and can budget for and really enjoy the entire buying experience. So with that, here we are. I'm going to bring Patrick and I'm going to bring Blake on. And if you will, introduce yourself to everyone. Tell everyone what's up with the For the People, the Dream Team for Budget.
I'm going to kick it off, bro.
Go ahead.
Hey guys, it's Blake and Patrick over here. We're Budget Car Sales here in Radcliffe, Kentucky. We're part of the Dream Team here. It's something that we started. And we work for Tony Melito, the dealer for the people. And truthfully, that's what we stand behind, is being that person or that team that's for the people.
And that's really kind of super cool because, I love the idea about, hey, we want to do business the right way. We want to have a different type of mindset that, it's all about how we can do the right thing by our customers, right? And
Absolutely.
Not to say that we have dealers out there that want to do that, but, especially when it gets to some of this subprime stuff, and we're going to kind of have a talk through about that, especially I say sometimes bad things happen to good people all the time. And we are going through this crisis right now. There are millions, unfortunately, that are not working. We're not working. And, there are going to be some of these guys that are going to need, may need help. I mean, when it's all said and done with, after gosh knows what happens here. And, how do you treat those customers? How do you treat a customer that might have some slow pay, derogatory credit? I mean, are we just going to go ahead, slam them on a car, try to put a deal together and see how much money we can make?
No, I mean, our biggest outlook here, we don't consider ourselves salespeople. We consider ourselves car buying coaches. And that's really what we try and embody, is being a coach for this person, being someone who can really walk them through the steps of how to purchase a car. And I've got customers that call us all the time, and they don't even talk to us about cars. They talk to us about personal finance stuff. They talk to us about, hey, I'm about to buy a home. What do you recommend? So we really try and encompass that of being, just kind of an outreach to them, not only as just a, regular car guy, but just someone who can kind of help guide them, because a lot of people don't know about this stuff. A lot of people may have not have been as fortunate enough to understand this stuff while they were growing up or whatever it may be. So, and that goes a long way with these customers, especially, for repeat business and stuff like that, just staying in contact with them and helping them throughout the way. And, Patrick and I, we had a very long talk about, let's treat our customers as if they were our family, because that's ultimately what they deserve, bad credit, whatever it may be, they're still people and they still deserve, 100% of the help that we can offer.
Okay, and I like that, and so I think sometimes we get ahead of ourselves, and of course we're in business for profit. We're not we're not the Goodwill. Sometimes that's what I hear. Do I look like I'm the Goodwill building? Do I look like I have that's what this is all about? But you know what? Sometimes maybe that's what it takes. I can tell you how many times I may have looked at a customer and their credit, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know if I can get this done or not. I mean, it is pretty darn ugly. But here's what's going on. I mean, how many have really taken the time to find out, what's happened, what's changed, why won't it happen again, and really get the story to sell to the bank. Let me ask you guys. You're working with a lot of these banks, subprime credit unions, etc. Does the story matter?
I would say it does. To a certain extent, everyone has a story, and there's always going to be three sides to it,
Mm-hmm.
But in a sense, I think it does. And you can take a look at a lot of these people, and like right now, I'm sure we're going to see repercussions from the current situation, this pandemic that's affecting a lot of people, like you said. So, it's just something that, we're not ones to judge. And hopefully the lenders aren't either. And I feel like a lot of times they do listen to what the customer has to say and what we have to say. And, I always tell customers, life happens, we get it, but we try not to focus on the past as much. We really want to go ahead and, focus on how we can help these customers and how we can move forward.
Well, I want to go ahead and I want to say hello to a few of our comments here. We have some visitors, and I want to thank Mr. Anthony Santangelo for being on. He is amazing. I mean, he's in and out of dealerships with Automax, training up the salespeople and really helping them along their way, along with a career in automotive retail sales. And definitely what a trooper he is, and just love you, Anthony. Thank you for being here. And then hello everyone, and I'm not exactly sure who that is coming from. Maybe it's Frederick from the F&I. I have people coming in from the F&I Today group. So if it's coming in from the F&I Today group, I don't necessarily know who they are. And Holly and Peck, hey.
Howdy.
Wow, it's good to see you. Holly and Peck is from Car Now. And let me tell you something. I love these Car Now guys. I mean, boy, let me tell you, we're talking a little bit more on the online, digital online experience. And the beauty of this digital online experience is really beauty with Car Now, is that they really understand the benefit behind having a conversation with, if you're not having a conversation, you're not selling cars. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
Right? How we can engage with that customer is going to make or break us. And, thinking that you're going to do a plug and play, have this digital retailing, digital platform, and not engage with the customer and have it, I don't know, somehow do it for you. It just doesn't work. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
That human touch is definitely needed.
And so when that happens and where that happens, and it could be in different places. Scott, hey, thanks for the show. Scott, so good to see you here on this Facebook Live. I really appreciate you being here. Boy, do I miss you guys. One of these days we can get back out there on the road again. I mean, what the heck? I mean, this is like, here I am. I'm still shelter in place in Georgia. I'm not in Kentucky with you guys. John Ward, here we are. Now, some of these guys have new car franchises. What do you tell them about, I think we have, I don't know, maybe some of the dealers that shy away from doing subprime because either, they just don't think that they have the banks or they have the inventory, and or every single time they try to put a deal together, it just doesn't fit. They're not as profitable. They think it's a headache. What do you tell those guys?
I think it's with anything. I mean, you have to keep trying with it. And I've personally never worked in the new car environment, but from everyone that I talked to, it really seems like the used market is kind of where it's at. But we also have a great team here. I mean, we've got Fred, the subprime hero that, he's amazing behind the desk. I've seen him put some stuff together that I could never even fathom.
So what is your role? What do you do there? What's your role? What do you, Patrick, and what do you two do?
We are car buying coaches. We essentially solve that transportation problem for the customers. Again, we love the human approach. We like to give them more than just a salesman. We like to give them that education, give them quite a bit of a show, and make them repeat customers, friends, family, etc.
So Frederick is the one who goes ahead and he ties the bow on this whole thing for you, right?
Yep. We've got Fred, Matt, and Paul, who, I mean, at our store, these guys are amazing. They all have so much knowledge.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the biggest thing with these other dealers who don't want to mess with it, network with these guys. I mean, these guys are ones who always try and offer help to people. You're very experienced with a lot of this. So I think networking, if you don't know, reach out. It's okay to ask for help and figure it out, because if you're not trying something, you're definitely missing the boat, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
What ends up happening, I think, in some of our other stores, new car stores and that sort of stuff. Hey, everyone. Hey, Mr. Kevin Calabucci's here. Hey, Kevin, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Hey there, this guy here, let me tell you, he's freaking aggressive. Oh my gosh. He knows how to run a dealership, let me tell you. He's amazing, and people love him because of it. He knows his stuff. Not one car sold without at least one conversation, even digitally. And you're so right. Holly and Peck, let's get you on a Facebook Live one of these days. How about it? Love to have you, because a lot of conversations about how we can get or engage with that customer sooner in the process. And here's the thing too, by the time, let's say we do that, how's the conversation go by the time the customer makes their way where? Into the dealership? Do we start all over again? And so that's another pain point. We do this digital retailing, and meanwhile, the customer might have landed on a car, maybe tried to figure out some payment options based off of their budget and or credit criteria. And when they make their way into the dealership, what happens? It starts all over again.
Right.
What car? What payment? What deal? Forget all that. Let's just forget it. And so that is it's very frustrating for a lot of customers. So if we're going to have a digital road to the sale, if you will, it is important to engage with that customer and be able to assure that by the time the customer comes into the dealership, we've been able to streamline that process and get that vehicle ready up for a faster delivery process. Would that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've got, hey everyone, where the heck is Frederick at? Tell Frederick I said for him to get on.
I think he's actually on a teleconference right now with another group.
Go figure. He's always busy doing
He's always doing something.
He's with us in spirit right now.
So I've been in dealerships where salespeople can't stand, when a customer says, oh, by the way, I have some derogatory credit, forget it. They're like, ugh. And a lot of that is because they don't have the support that they need from the desk. And so some of these guys, what they do is they end up sending the customer down the road.
Yeah, I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, we get people who say, oh, I just left X dealership, and we're like, oh, okay. And then by the time we talk to them and get their information, we relay that to the desk, and they'll be like, yeah, they pulled them, but they didn't even send them anywhere. They didn't even try.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just a complete shock, because, you're doing, your dealership a disservice. You're doing that customer a disservice. So we never, regardless what anybody tells us, I mean, we embrace it. I mean, it is what it is. And, from the front lines with our owner, I mean, that's who we advertise to. I mean, these are the people that need help. We're not looking for that buyer that can, say, hey, I want this, and that's what I'm going to get. We're here for people who genuinely have transportation problems, that 200,000+ mile car that you hope in the morning it's going to start. We want someone to be in something reliable and safe.
So your dealer has been in business for how long?
I would say upwards of 15, 20 years now, just himself owning the dealerships. And then he was in the car business for years before that.
Okay. So this is kind of how he kind of likes to run his stores. He's upfront, and he really wants to, really try to help someone along. Now, what are your thoughts about doing more digital online transactions?
Well,
there you go, Patrick.
Of course, the pandemic has kind of limited our face-to-face interactions. I've never done the digital interactions myself. I'm more of a people.
You're not doing it. I'm with you on that, but let's talk about some dealers that necessarily are in Kentucky. You guys are actually, you're able to keep your doors open, right? You got some dealers out there that are shut down.
Right.
They're shut down. They might be able to have service, that sort of stuff. But here is Michael Turman, just got on. Hey. And we got, hey, Frederick. Hey, guys. All right, there you go. But, so here's the deal. You've got, where was I going with that? Help me out. What was I? See, I interrupt myself, and I can't remember what the hell.
You're still moving.
The digital world here.
The digital world, right? And I think where was I? Gosh, come on, Michael. What was I talking about? Help me out here. Where, we really want to be able to, so we have these dealerships that are shut down. So how are they doing virtual walk-arounds? Should we do that? And if you don't have a way to be able to engage with a customer other than talking to them on the phone, isn't that going to take away from what you're doing?
So we were able to adapt to the situation at hand here. Our initial interactions, all of that takes place over the phone. The great thing about the technology we have now, smartphones and everything, you can set up a Zoom meeting or any type of FaceTime, Messenger type meeting where you're doing your walk around, your features and benefits as if they're on a lot right next to you, although they're not, to build that same excitement to purchase. So all that's left is for them to arrive and test drive a sanitized vehicle and say, hey, I love it. I'm ready to leave with this.
And if these other dealers, everyone has their own laws and regulations they have to abide by. But something that Fred and the managers here did, and the few sales guys that we do have here, a big thing in the military for us is you just have to adapt and overcome. There's certain things that are in your control and a lot of it that's out of your control. So you just have to figure it out. And if, people use the excuse, we can't do this, or, it's going to be too hard to do this. That's just the wrong mindset. You just have to embrace it. And that's exactly what we've done. We've sold a car almost every single day that this pandemic has kicked off, but it's because we just keep pushing and we keep adapting, and things change, but you just have to get out there and do what you can with it.
Yeah, well, things do change. And so do you think that a lot of dealers are kind of just sitting back? Sales associates the same, and saying, we've got about 3 months here to wait out and things will get back to normal.
Yeah, we see it up and down. Dixie Highway right out in front here, there's thousands of car dealerships here. And that's what a lot of our friends that are in the business are doing. They're just essentially just giving up. And that's just not the mentality that we have. And that's not the mentality. And I think a lot of it does come from, your frontline leaders, starting at the top. If they're derogatory and negative about it, it's going to trickle down the trenches. So, but from whenever this first kicked off, it's been nothing but positivity around here. And so, yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of clamming up, just like people do in the winter. People slow down advertising, people slow down everything, but that's whenever we kick it up. And I think it's truthfully just a mindset thing. I think if you can set the mindset to no matter what's going on, we're going to get through it, then I
think that a lot of times, and I'm going to go back to some of these comments here. Thank you so much, everyone, for those comments. And but I think that in the scheme of things, it's okay. Well, we can touch a car. That's good. We'll allow them to touch a car, but but when we get into payments and when we get into the products and when we get into the F&I stuff, we got to protect the golden goose, and that's that F&I department at all costs. And I understand it's the huge profit center, but does that mean then that we're going to wait until the customer gets into the F&I office to discuss all these terms, and is that even is that even feasible? I mean, how many other progressive car people are now allowing or engaging customers like you do through Facebook, through FaceTime, through these Zoom webinars, that sort of stuff, and are more than willing to address and answer customer specific questions, not sit back and wait until a customer makes their way into an F&I office. So therefore, we're trying to protect our golden goose. And meanwhile, maybe because of that, this is actually costing sales, right? And it's like, I'm aware there's an article in Automotive News today that hit, and a couple of the dealers, they're very concerned. And then I understand why. Their states are closed down, right? They're closed down. Meanwhile, the next state across from them, guess what? They're open, or they're somewhat open. And like Pennsylvania right now, believe it or not, they can't even do an online delivery. It's crazy. So when we look at this whole thing, if in fact dealers aren't utilizing the tools that they have, meaning can't and don't offer the customer the capability of doing or buying a vehicle online, and dealers elsewhere are they not missing the boat? People won't buy a car from them.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we've had people from out of state actually reach out to us, and they're saying, yeah, no one around here is even allowing us to come look. So, I mean, yeah, you're definitely missing the boat if you can't. Now, if legally you're not allowed to, that's a different story.
Well, legally you're not. I mean, but it sends a message to me loud and clear.
Right.
And they're going, well, you're cutting us off. These people are going elsewhere. Well, guess what? If you don't offer the customer the capability of doing this online, to some degree, I'm not saying all degrees, and now I'm not saying that we're not engaging at a particular time during the digital journey, but at least give the customer the idea or the feeling as if, hey, by the way, this is what we offer, and then decide by the time the customer makes their way into the dealership that we're not going to offer what we said that we're going to offer. Right? We have to have that different mindset too. Okay, let's see what Frederick has to say. Video follow-up and use Zoom meetings. Yeah. And it's funny because I just had a conversation with a dealer who'll go nameless. And basically, by us all doing these Zoom videos, more meetings, that sort of stuff is getting us a lot more comfortable in front of a camera, isn't it?
Well, we've actually taken it a step further as the Dream Team, thanks to Frederick's subprime hero, Lenars III. We've taken it a little further, and we've actually established a YouTube channel. So we offer thank yous, follow-up videos, congratulations, those social interactions that we miss out on because of the COVID pandemic. We're able to do this now via a YouTube channel, and now they have those for life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good stuff. Michael German. Jocko Willinick mindset. Yes. Did I say that right? How do I say that? Willinick? How am I saying that? Kevin Calabucci, appointments only, Skype, Facebook Live, FaceTime, walk-arounds, Zoom, etc. videos of sales associates with the car. This is the time to get better. Train, adapt. Kevin, guess what? I'm going to be reaching out to you. We're going to do a Facebook Live together. Let me tell you, this guy kills it. This guy kills it. There are, it's amazing how many dealers that just aren't on this deal, right? They just don't see, they just don't get it yet. They're scrambling around. And did I do that right? Anyway, all mindset leaders have to be innovative and allow teams to try new ideas, right? And this is why it's so cool to be able to talk to you guys today, because I know how innovative your dealer is. I spoke with Frederick. We had Frederick who was kind enough to go on a Facebook Live with me. We really got into the nitty gritty of it, So I wanted to bring you guys on because I wanted people to see that, with the right type training in place, right? Where there's coaches, what we can do different for our customers, because when that happens, obviously you're building a business for what? For life. Frederick says, but even if they can't sell, they should start working on training because soon they will be open, but at limited, as you are. So get the programs going on these new processes, learn so they can be ready. All day.
100% true.
Yep. So I agree. And, it's just a matter of really kind of feeling it out and why can't we, just learning these new processes and playing it out. I mean, every dealership is different, right? And it's not like we're all the same. We're just not all the same. So that digital journey, first of all, has to be different than the other dealership. And it really has to incorporate what's going on in their dealership. It has to go in alignment to what's really taking place, or otherwise it's just not going to work. It is a mindset type deal, right?
Absolutely. Right.
And it's a decision that y'all make to go ahead and decide, hey, I'm going to be up front or I'm not going to, be up front, not just, right?
Right, absolutely.
So Patrick, I'm going to go ahead and kind of give you guys a last word here. What do you want to tell dealers here, if you will, of how to, the importance of really building that customer experience, making it, making sure that it's such a great experience that customers are coming back for more, that you're retaining your business?
Give them something to want to come back to. Blake and I, we work together a lot. I'm a big showman. I'm the guy that's out in front. I'm dancing. I'm doing backflips. I'm doing what it takes because people still like to be entertained. You can solve the transportation problem and build a fan. If you have a fan, you have a customer for life.
And Blake, tell us what you think about this whole thing. What can you really share, with everyone here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just be different. Don't be that same guy that they met down the road that, talked to them and now they're at a different lot. I think giving them something different, giving them, a great experience, and just be different. I mean, that's the biggest thing that Patrick and I see success with is even with, some of the guys that are in our own store, we're just so different in everything that we do. That it really stands out to the customers, and we truly do have a following and customers who are always reaching out to us. So be different, and just treat everyone, like you would want to be treated. That's the biggest, just basic human fundamentals towards other people, I think goes a long way, and not just treating them like a sale.
Right. So when they try to tell me that, oh, by the way, this customer has derogatory credit, and I'm like, well, bad stuff happens to good people all the time. What does that mean? What exactly does that mean? Can we get the information earlier on before the customer ever makes their way into a dealership, so that way we are prepared to put the customer on the right car from the beginning? Is that something we can do? I know for me, and again, I'm not here to put anyone on the spot, but for me, when I did subprime, and I did enough of it, a lot of it, and I will say that when I was or had the chance to speak to the customer even before the customer ever made their way into a dealership, my deals were so much more locked down, ready to go. And I knew exactly what I had. I had most of the documentation out of the way. I understood the customer income. I mean, I had it knocked out. I did the pre-interview, if you will, even before, like on that phone, before the customer made their way into a dealership. So I found that by doing that, when they got there, it was easy. Put the customer on the car, trade in, whatever. I already knew what I had, And for the most part, what bank is going to buy what? I knew my banks inside and out. My niche is so important, understanding who your niche is, what they're going to buy, because obviously every scenario is different from another, and you better know what they're willing to buy versus the other bank that doesn't. So I think that obviously is part of the whole thing as well, but really kind of aligning that interview process, pre-interview process, and knowing your bank's inside and out, and reducing the time that it takes to sell a car. I mean, why does a customer have to be in the dealership all day buying a car, for crap's sake? Why? I don't think it's just not necessary, but it happens much too often. Frederick says, "Great job, guys. Thanks, Becky, for having these rising stars on your show. This was awesome." Well, it was my pleasure. One of the things that I do want to talk to y'all about a little bit before we kind of shut it down, Michael Jarman is with he's with TurboPass. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen our show, the Facebook Live show with Michael Jarman and myself and a couple other. He had a finance company on, as well as another independent dealer and very successful dealer. And he has created a way to really reduce the frustration to be able to confirm and verify ID and income without utilizing paper steps. And that goes right into the customer's bank statements. So we're verifying it's true, good information. However, which way a dealer, wants to utilize that information, and he's coupled that with, of course, some of the finance companies already that are utilizing TurboPass for income verification. But what I like about it is the fact that, hey, is this the person who they say that they are? Because fraud's going on the rise, right? And before we do any of these home deliveries, that sort of stuff, who are we dealing with? Are they who they say that they are? Has the ID been verified? That sort of stuff. And that company, I'll tell you right now, guys, if you don't know who TurboPass is, check them out. How do you like that, Michael? No, it really is. I really think the world of TurboPass, because, whether a dealer utilize them to obtain the loan approval with the finance company, that's one thing. But at least I need to know as a dealer, because let's face it, if in fact there was fraudulent activity taking place, have you guys ever got a false document from a customer?
Oh, absolutely.
So how do you know when you have a false document from a customer?
A majority of the time, they're pretty easy to notice, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, we've actually just had a couple pretty recently, that ended up making it through the funding process, and so we're having to deal with that. But yeah, I think something like that, it's pretty ingenious. It's a good way, and like Michael says, getting steps up front just to know who you're dealing with. That's kind of one of the things that we try and do different on our own level. Is getting them up front, because that gives you all the information you need, outside of the story. You get some of the cold hard facts in there right up front.
Well, exactly. And you know what you're dealing with, you're verified, and income, that the income's there, whether or not you utilize it for the bank. See, I just like to have it in my toolbox, right? Because it's just like, how many times have you guys gone to utilize Google Earth, right, to see whether or not somebody actually lives where they say that they live? Oh,
yeah. I'm not the only one.
Of course we have. Those are the things that we do, right? Because we got to protect the dealership's assets. I don't want a customer taking the delivery of my dealer car and then we are not able to get it funded. Are you kidding me? He's out or she's out $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And we're figuring out ways to go find the car, right? And there's other compliance issues that goes along with that, because we were the ones who managed to go ahead and spot deliver the car, that sort of stuff, and take the risk of doing that. Well, that's the cost of doing business. But still, this reduces that. So now we can utilize these tools to verify what we have. If we can utilize it for the bank, all the better. If not, if it's just for us, all the better. If in fact, even after the fact, even after, and here's what I ask that you do. Contact TurboPass, contact Michael Jarman. He'll put you in touch with another dealer that's utilizing and has made a huge difference in the verification process for stores. So I got to tell you, it really is a game changer. And especially now with all this fraudulent activity going on, TurboPass is an amazing program. Frederick is already on it.
I'm glad Fred's watching that, 'cause that's what he was about to get a phone call here in a minute.
Very short.
He's got it. I don't know if you guys have it, but he knows everything that there is to know about it. Oh, snap. Does that sound familiar? And TurboPassReport.com. I guess Michael's given us clues. TurboPassReport.com. So let's go on that, and everyone, or NoStips.com. I kind of like the NoStips.com, but keep in mind, one of the things that I think Michael would want me to share with you, the customer, like you're going through right now, trying to figure things out because the deal's not getting funded, he can actually help to get that income verified to help you get the deal funded. So this is something that I, again, highly encourage you guys to do with Frederick. Let's get you guys hooked up with Michael Jarman and start making some better deals and more deals.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's what this was all about. So I had a lot of fun. Guys, I want to thank you so much. I really appreciate the up and rising stars of our business. And, that's what it's all about, right? People like you. I remember when I got started in the business, right? I know what it was like. So I am so glad to be able to be here with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. We had a blast, and for everyone that joined in, thank you guys as well. This is a great thing for us to be able to be here with you guys, so thank you.
I greatly appreciate it.
And we appreciate your service too, by the way. And anytime I need a dog trained, I know where I'm going.
Hey, I got you, Becky.
Kill me. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, thank you again. I appreciate it. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and end this wonderful broadcast. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Becky.
You're welcome. It was fun.